Welcome to Empire Rugby League, the Western Front Edition, the only podcast where we talk about everything local WA Rugby League. Joining me today is Beer Triks. Mate, how are you?
Good, mate. I'm ready to go.
Excellent. Unfortunately, Morgz is unavailable for selection this week, so we have called in the Bear off the couch. Bear, how are you, mate?
Oh, I'm going all right. I don't know how much use I'm going to be to you boys. I don't watch a lot of local footy, but look, I'm here. Let's give it a crack, eh?
Awesome, boys. Let's do it. As usual, our first topic of the day is going to be our results. I'll kick off with the Women's League tag over the weekend. We had Kwinana 18 over Joondalup 4. South Perth was 36 over Fremantle 0. North Beach was 20 over Ellenbrook 8. Willagee was 22 over Alkimos 6, and Mandurah had the bye.
Then we move on to third grade. We had Kalamunda 38 over Mandurah 10, Alkimos 22 over Willagee 20, and Ellenbrook 36 over North Beach 6. And there was 4 teams on a bye in Kwinana, South Perth, Rockingham, and Fremantle.
And the run sheet says Morgz, so I'm assuming that's me, boys.
It's gonna be yeah.
So in the Val Murphy, Kalamunda thumped Joondalup 50-0. Kwinana got over Rockingham 34-6. Fremantle got rid of the... South Perth are going well, aren't they? All right. So Fremantle 34 over South Perth 22. And then another spanking. Alkimos 60 over Willagee 20. And to round out the Val Murphy was Ellenbrook 34, North Beach 12.
Couple of surprising results there in Val.
Yeah, I agree.
There's some big scores there.
Yeah, moving on to the Women's Premiership, we had Ellenbrook 18 over Willagee 0. That was a live stream game. And we had Fremantle bouncing back to a bit of form with an 82-0 win over Kalamunda, with the Joondalup Giants having the bye.
Is that the score we were expecting in the Ellenbrook-Willagee game?
It wasn't, but Willagee had a few out.
Yeah.
It was always going to be a tough ask going to Ellenbrook and getting a result, and then just having those few outs, it was really telling. I think they lost their halfback during the game as well.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
yeah.
So it wasn't a good night for the Bears.
Not at all.
Well,
but a good night for Ellenbrook. So
outside looking in, I'm glad that the 18-0 game was a live stream game.
Yeah.
Because
No, that's fair. It's I think on paper, and we spoke about it last week, that this was the game we wanted to see. And again, it's good to see that these highlighted games are the ones that are more becoming the ones we want to see as the season goes on. The Fremantle 82 over Kalamunda 0. I mean, Kalamunda have been working incredibly hard, so there's no sort of issues there. But Fremantle obviously getting to click in that moment as well.
They're a good team, Fremantle. So I've been expecting more out of them, and hopefully they build off the back of this.
Yeah, the next few weeks actually be very, very interesting for those 3 teams in Willagee, Ellenbrook and Freo.
Absolutely.
Moving on to men's premiership, we had Joondalup 44 over Rockingham 32. We had Fremantle 38 over South Perth 16. That was also the live stream game. And Willagee 16 over North Beach 14. These, again, were probably not the scores we were expecting in this round. Beer Triks.
No, not at all. You could have made a case for all of these good games for different reasons. Joondalup 44 over Rockingham 32. I thought maybe it was going to be the other way around. But not surprised at how many points have been scored, given the troops that both teams are lacking. And then, I think it was... The Sharks did well to come back and make it a respectable 44-32, because when I checked early in the game, it was like 18-0 or something like that. Yeah. A couple big upsets in the other games.
Yeah, well, we were talking about whether or not Fremantle can come back into form, and that score over the table leaders really does say what it needs. I don't think, if memory serves, that South Perth were down anybody. So Fremantle were up on troops and South Perth, both of them firing full squads. This could change the landscape of the premiership race.
Could do. I did notice that Eddie Prouder was named at 7 but didn't play at 7.
Okay.
So that is a pretty big loss.
Yeah.
Considering he was named in the cast team of the tournament only a few weeks ago.
Correct.
So big loss there. And then if we go to the other game, North Beach versus Willagee. I think it was a match winner in the last few minutes from the Bears to get the win over North Beach, and another big upset for them this year.
Yeah. Awesome.
The Bears seem to be building towards something special.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't think you can ever really count them out. That's what they've been proving this year. So, moving on to our round 9 junior footy results with our under 13s boys. We had Ellenbrook 24 over Rockingham 16, Kalamunda 28 over Fremantle 12, and Joondalup 10 over Willagee 0, with Kwinana having the bye.
A few upsets in the under 14s boys this week. We had Ellenbrook 28 over South Perth 18. We had Fremantle 24 over the previously undefeated Kalamunda Bulldogs 8. We had Alkimos 34 over the Rockingham Sharks 26, and we had Serpentine getting a win over Joondalup 16, and North Beach forfeited against Kwinana.
Rightio. Well, you boys are looking after me here. You giving me the 14s girls, so not much to go off. So that excellent. So 14s girls, Willagee 46 over Joondalup 0, and then my records showed that there was a forfeit in the other game. Do we know who by?
No,
not sure.
No news on that. And then the Kwinana girls had a bye, so no news on the forfeit.
Yeah,
that's right.
No news on the forfeit, but yeah, I suppose if you...
I would assume 9 times out of 10,
yeah.
North versus South team. The Ellenbrook is the northern team, and this is the home team. So I would assume Fremantle was the forfeit. But you never know.
So we don't know. So we'll move on to the 15s boys, where Kalamunda had a big win against Fremantle 42-0. Alkimos had a big win over Rockingham 40-0, and Willagee had a big win over Joondalup 50-0. So a few good defensive games from the winning teams there, and Ellenbrook Rabbitohs had the bye in the 15s boys.
Moving on to under 17s boys, we had Rockingham 24 over Fremantle's 14, Joondalup 44 over Kwinana 22, and it appears that Alkimos may have forfeited against Ellenbrook in the under 17s. So more than a few forfeits.
But again, no real clarity on who forfeited that game.
No, not really, or sort of where the...
My north-south theory doesn't work.
Doesn't work out at all.
No, it's just down the road.
But yeah, I mean, more than a few forfeits here, especially in the upper age group for the juniors. Moving sort of on, Beer Triks, we spoke about whether or not certain age groups should have had a bye going into their state selection. We did speak in the last one about whether or not the results would point us in the direction if that was a good idea or not. What do you reckon is the result of that? Going off the results we've just read.
The 15s boys, I don't think the results were too much reflected from the state selections, although Rockingham already sort of not going as well as they wanted to this year. I think they've got 4 or 5 in the state squad, so they were a bit lacking there. But the under 14s were definitely affected by the state boys going away. I know that Kalamunda were missing their best player, so that sort of is reflective in the result. Rockingham were missing 2 of their best, so that was sort of reflective in that result against Alkimos. And who was the other one? Mainly just those 2. Decimated by state selection. Is
that enough to suggest that the bye would be required? Sort of from the outsider's perspective, what would you suggest in that term?
Well, I mean, look, there's 2 ways of looking at it, especially with juniors. You don't want to stop junior footy.
Yep.
Because it's hard to get kids momentum into a week in, week out routine and momentum.
Yeah.
And, breaks in the competition sort of may hinder it. But if it's going to affect the competition in a dramatic way, it's probably could be looked at. But at the same time, if these are the top sides losing, like I think you said, Kalamunda was undefeated up until this point.
Yep.
A loss isn't going to hurt them.
No.
Yeah.
If anything, it should showcase to the coaching staff that, maybe we need to dedicate more time to the majority rather than leaning on the superstar kid.
Yep.
Look, I don't. It's a tough one.
Yep.
But I don't have an answer for you there. Like, it's probably more up to you boys who are a bit more involved locally with the juniors. So, Beer Triks?
Here's an idea. Why don't you just get rid of the bloody buys that we have for school holidays and plan it more around when the competition's going to be affected?
That's actually probably a really sensible idea.
If you're signing up, in my eyes, if you're signing up to play footy, then you're playing footy. You know, so if you've got to play footy during school holidays, so be it.
Well, realistically, the only school holidays a sporting competition, community sport should stop for, Easter, Christmas.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Christmas isn't an issue for rugby league
rugby
in
league.
WA. So therefore, you got your Easter, Anzac long weekend sort of falls all together, that 10-day period.
Yeah.
Maybe that's your buy for the holidays.
Yep.
But the 2 week gaps, mate, you play through them.
Yeah.
Well, you train through them, don't you? You still train.
Well, you should be.
Kids are still going to training, so...
Like, there's no reason to stop a competition for a 2 week school holiday. Like, that's a bit ridiculous. As I said earlier, you stop kids out of that weekly routine,
Yeah.
it's hard to get them back. And if your club's struggling and the kids have a full round bye and then maybe they have the legitimate bye the next week, mate, the week after that, you're probably not going to have a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're back to square one.
So,
Back to the
yeah,
start.
maybe having a look at the calendar earlier and going, well, surely you know when these tours are going to happen.
Yeah.
And, juggle it around that. But in saying that, no draw is ever easy to concoct.
No, that's right. And again, I'll chuck it right out there. I do not envy the people that have to put these draws together. I know it would probably send me batty. So, there you go. So, anyway. Speaking of state, that's exactly right. Good segue again, Beer Triks. We're just going to run through a couple of the scorelines for the currently still ongoing schools championships. I'll just jump on with these first 15's boys games. So the first game, we have WA scoring 4 points and Victoria, we're not sure on the score there. 38. Game 2 was WA 38 to NT's 16.
In their third game, they lost 20-0 to Goannas.
Goannas, yep, that's right.
First Nations Goannas.
So any shocks there, boys? Like again, talking out of school, but honestly, I think the results so far are what was probably expected. Like, let's be honest, we should dust NT. We should just dust the territory. And Victoria, given that there's been a lot of focus of feeding their Thunderbolts system, you'd assume that would be quite strong. So I think a loss to Victoria is no shame. A loss to the Goannas is definitely no shame. I don't think our systems over here are anywhere near the Queensland, New South Wales systems. No. And the Goannas is what? The Indigenous New South Wales school side?
I'm pretty sure it's New South Wales, yeah.
So, I mean...
But in saying all that, the game against Vic, if they don't drop so much ball and give away ill-disciplined penalties, they're right in the game. The second half, they controlled the ball a lot better. They didn't give away penalties. And Vic nearly died at the back end of the game. Like, they were gone. So if we had held the footy and stayed more disciplined, may have stuck with it. But it's just, it's just, I don't know. Just, we're not getting taught these things. Is there not enough cohesion in the team because they only had a 5-week prep?
Yeah.
5 weeks is still... That's it. For an under-15s side tour, that 5 weeks is still a fair amount of time if you're going twice a week, once a week.
Twice a week. Twice a week. But I've got to say, given
10 sessions,
the games that I watched, it wasn't enough, because we're behind the eastern states. We need a longer prep because technically we're the talent is there, but technically we're a long way behind everyone else. Our tackle technique is not as good. If you watch the New South Wales games, everyone's pushing up around the ball. There's numbers in all the tackles. It's just completely different.
So it's not necessarily a talent issue. It's probably more a coaching issue.
It's coaching issue. 100% it's coaching issue.
Yeah.
I don't think over here. I don't think we can rely on Rise because that 6-week Rise. I don't think they're learning enough in it. We can't rely on the school competitions and we can't rely on the local competitions because the week-to-week competition is not high enough for the kids to get any better.
Yep.
So I think this sort of it all needs to be done earlier, and I think they need to be in a sort of training camp, even if it's only once a week from the start of the year, so you can get rid of all these bad habits out of their game. Because week to week, like you can just it's so easy to, if you're a talented player, to just dominate a team over you.
Oh yeah, it's. I mean,
with your bad habits.
If you're an intelligent coach, you don't actually need to know much to win a game of football over you. If you kick to corners and run hard through the middle, you're going to win the game most weeks.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, every team should be doing that, but from what I'm hearing at the moment, it doesn't sound like it.
No.
But it's overcomplicating the simple stuff. That's quite what it comes down to. But look, I think I like your idea about the start of the season and these kids that will be in that program. Their skills increasing should filter down into their club, into their school, everywhere they go. The old adage, I think I've used it before, about the rising tide.
Yeah.
If they're taught everything properly, then all of that will come back down to the other players around them.
Not only that, are you picking the right kids to take that back to clubland though? Or are you picking the kids that are just going to strut around with an ego going, I'm so good, I'm a state player?
Most of the kids I've ever met are strutting around with those egos anyway.
Look, this is what I'm saying.
When I was younger.
That is probably the times we live in. I understand that ego is a healthy thing these days.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but I think it's got to be used in the right way.
Exactly.
In
so
the right
again,
context,
that's a whole nother side to coaching.
Yes, it's the man management, it's the player management. It's about the
it's
emotional
not just the
intelligence.
X's and O's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And another side to it as well, and we spoke about it before. From watching the games and watching the players that they picked and the positions that they're playing them in, I really don't think that any of the coaches have bothered to go out and watch any local footy over the last year or two to see how these kids actually go and where they should be playing.
They've just picked a bunch of randoms and said, oh yeah,
They've
you
just
look
picked
like
the best,
that, you look
yeah,
like
they've
that.
just picked the best players in each team regardless of position, and they've just put them in there somewhere.
Well, if you're a state coach, surely as of round one in... When does your season start, boys?
for juniors.
Started in May.
Yeah.
All right, so round one in May. Circle two teams. All right, go down to Franklin Offshore and go, I'm going to watch these two games. And then you can earmark some kids, tick that box. The next week, go to a different two teams. Like, you should have eyes on the competition. If that's how you select it, is it not?
Yeah.
Well, it's through school as well, isn't it? So, I mean, some of these kids are going to be selected through their school games.
Oh, yeah, okay. That might be a bit hard if you're at work or whatever, but...
I don't know how many of the state coaching staff, as far as my understanding goes, all of the school kids coaching staff have to be involved in the schooling system.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, completely. So maybe that's where a lot of the picking has come from. It's maybe they've known the kids a while. You know, it's where they play their positions, as you were talking about too. If they're out of position, but they're talented players, it's about getting them in the squad, and it may work well in other areas, but sometimes it doesn't. As those every position is a specialised position.
Yeah.
Whether you're a winger, halfback, hooker, it doesn't matter. If you're coached and taught to play as a winger, then that's what you're going to fall back onto.
Mm.
If you're coached and play as a halfback and you put on the centres, then the vision of the game is going to be different, and you'll be looking for different things in that position. So, I think there's a lot of it may be picked through.
The kids have got to go through the Rise program to pick for the state team, right?
Is that so? That's part of it as well. So the Rise and schools.
Is all the New South Wales teams, are they all going through the Rise program to be able to get picked as well, or are they picking the best kids?
I thought the Rise program over on the eastern states was more of a dragnet for kids that may not have made it through to a higher level already. So we've already got our top level. Here we're going to try and have another straight through where we can to see.
That would make sense if that's how Rise works over there. Obviously, it can't work that way over here.
Yeah, well, that's
it. So we're running. So essentially, it's a rugby league program for the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're picking our team from a system that is for the lower level of the New South Wales competition.
In my mind, that's how I understand Rise to work in the East.
So Rise is an aspirational program.
Yeah, well, look.
So kids that want to get to that level, well, then here's the first door to walk through, basically.
if you look, kids that are talented are going to get picked up. They're going to be seen because that's the nature of talented kids. They're going to rise to the top. They're going to be seen because they will outstrip their peers. And that's the point in natural talent. Then from there, they can be coached. But that doesn't mean that other kids that have maybe not reached their peak or they're not quite as talented can't work hard to get to their levels.
I'll put it this way. From my experience, boys, just a little side note, the late bloomers are usually the better players. But we will move on. And what are the girls doing? What are the 16 girls doing?
Yeah, sorry. I mean, look, everything we've just said then can be transferred onto the 16s girls or any of the school competitions. Okay, so our 16s girls, game 1 was 36 over NT 12. Game 2, it was 4 points to WA over the New South Wales Combined Independent Schools for 52 points.
And game 3, they had a 14-8 win over ACT.
Again, probably expected results. Like you'd want to be beating ACT because there's not much around. I mean, Canberra's not a highly populated place.
Not super popular. I think it's all the groups around there. Players.
And then obviously NT, as we said before, we should be a class above them. And then, look, the New South Wales combined schools, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's probably an expected scoreline.
Yeah. Again, it's talent to the top. So, one thing we've spoke about on the podcast a little bit before, and we've maybe not been as appreciative of it this time around. I want to say that the squad announcements were bang on. Everything looked really, really good. The promo and awareness was really good. Lots of really cool content, lots of personality, with some serious content drops before. The GB's Facebook has been really good at trying to update scores every day. Sometimes a couple of times a day I'm seeing updates on the scores and what's going on. I think both teams have had a rest day today or yesterday, and we've been updated with what they're doing, some team bonding, getting out and having a meal together.
Well, that's important. People need to be seeing that there's actually work going on these tours. They're not just a junket for everybody just to go off and have a little bit of a holiday. But I agree. What do you call it? The social media.
Yeah.
Seen plenty of posts around these events, so I think that's awesome. One thing I did pick up on though, it popped up on the feed a few times, was the little video.
Yeah.
The video of what would you like to say to people to help you get here?
Yep.
That content, that is gold.
Yeah.
More of that.
Yeah.
More of that. That brings meaning to the jersey. It brings meaning and an appreciation. Like, it makes the kids sit there and think and go, oh, maybe I am lucky to have this opportunity.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being handed to you and now get on a plane, go play some footy, have some fun, come back home.
Yeah.
Have it mean something.
That's right. Yeah. Look at those that are supporting you, and not just family. I mean, there's the coaches and peers and teachers as well as it's a school kids comp. So.
Yeah, I think they absolutely nailed the social media. The squad announcements were great. All the promos with the kids showing a bit of personality was awesome. The jersey presentation, I thought it was a nice touch, bringing the parents in for the photo. I thought that was beautiful. Yeah. And like you said, mate, that video was...
that was the cherry on top. But
that was, not only did you see like a bit of personality, but you're seeing a bit of emotion behind it. And I thought all the boys spoke very well too.
Yeah. And that's not an easy thing to do. That is not an easy thing to do, especially for young teenagers to sit there and actually convey a bit of emotion.
To take it seriously as well. Yeah.
But your point, the jersey presentations with the family.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Once again, bringing some meaning and some pride and some, something back to the jersey.
And they were all wearing WA state gear. How good.
Yeah,
fantastic.
So good.
What, a uniform for a state side? Oh, what?
It was really, really good, boys.
That's awesome.
As we said.
Just on the uniform, though, we did see that there were some issues with the apparel, with our state team going out without, was it shirts? What was it, Beer Triks or something there?
So, no jumpers. They
jumpers.
They got given plain black jumpers, which I thought looked pretty poor. but at least they were all matching. And the boys, the under-15s boys, were given bags with no squad numbers. The feedback that I've gotten is that it was a supplier issue.
Yep.
Which is and also
That's fine.
I heard that they didn't have any socks for the photos. Now I don't know if that was because the manager of the team just didn't bring the socks and they were in the hotel room, or if that was a supplier issue as well, because I know that the boys were told to take playing socks with them. But the feedback I'm getting is that it's all a supplier issue.
Yep.
Which is, it's all good and well to say it's a supplier issue, but why isn't this stuff organised earlier to allow for these mistakes that happen all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Factor
mean,
in,
is blaming the supplier just a little cop out at the moment, or? I mean, again, talking out of school here, boys.
Yeah.
But if this was, again, outside looking in, and if you didn't know that there was a supplier issue, it's a poor look. But we'll give the benefit of the doubt here, say it is a supplier issue.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Beer Triks raises a great point. Like, what month are we in now?
Well, we just started July.
July. So 6-7 months into the year, I'm sure that this was not organised last month.
Yeah.
I'm sure that this would have been on the calendar from January.
Yeah. Well, you have
So
to.
why would you not do a blanket order or a standing order of X amount of bags? You don't need sizes for.
No.
Jumpers, you can get away with some loose sizes
Yeah.
because I don't know. I prefer a bigger jumper than a fitting jumper.
Yep.
But shirts, all right, we can. Shirts are a bit hard. Every kid's a different size.
Yeah.
But there'd be a blanket, 10XL.
Even if so,
5 large,
you know,
whatever.
These kids, this is their first taste of their professional journey in rugby league, right? I don't think they care what size bloody jumper they get.
That's probably a fair point
No,
too.
they're hopping
I think
on a
they're going to
plane
be
go
more
play
excited.
footy.
They could have, like, the skinny little halfback, he could have a 5XL jumper, and he will wear that everywhere after this competition.
That's a
Because
fair
it's
point.
an NRLWA branded jumper.
Yeah. Where'd you get that from, mate?
And it's his first state jumper.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
And you know what? Might be even better to get the bigger one so he can wear it when he's older too.
Oh, there you go.
Hang on to it forever.
Spoken like a true parent.
The other thing that sort of stuck out to me was the 16s girls coach, from what I could tell, didn't fly out with the team when they originally flew out on the Thursday evening or Friday morning, because she was named to play.
Oh, it wasn't too hard to tell because, they flew out on Thursday afternoon at lunchtime, and she was playing for her team on a Friday night.
Yes. That was certainly the look that it gave.
Well, that was going to be my question, like from sitting over here in the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
When did the 16 girls have their first game? So the day after they landed, or the day they landed?
I think they played on the Sunday.
It's a Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fairly
All
certain
right,
they played on the
so-
Sunday.
So the coach hasn't missed a
It
game.
was, Saturday, Sunday, Monday they played, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Saturday.
So the coach hasn't missed a game.
No.
But I do agree, it's not a great look, especially with the juniors. Like if this was a senior team and the coach couldn't get off work or something like that, you could cop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
But
would.
this is like you've put your hand up to coach these girls. I'm sorry, you're on that plane with them, or why'd you put your hand up?
Yeah.
So
It's maybe not even that. I mean, obviously extenuating circumstances comes into it. But if you're not there and you're playing a game, that's the bad look.
Yeah.
Like it's
again,
well,
if it
you
was
can't
work
get that.
related, we can cop it all
If you-
because
I think work's the only excuse.
It's all volunteer.
Work
Or
or a
family.
family emergency.
These are obviously the opinions of us here on the podcast. If anybody wants to reach out and have the discussion and put some clarity around what we're talking about, we're more than happy to have that discussion.
absolutely. I mean, especially me. I'm so far removed from this. It's not funny.
Well, that's it.
I'm just here to fill it in.
Just before we move on, boys, another sort of, I suppose, issue with the competition was from our boys, our 15s boys, in the game against the Goannas. There was a fight. Yes, it was niggle from the Goannas. Yes, they threw the first punch. But in today's day and age, like you just cop it on the chin and you just laugh at the opposition and just, you got the penalty.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's no reason for you to retaliate. There's no reason for other people to come running in. And to my surprise, out of all of this, there is no judicial system over at the ASSRL competition.
That
Which
doesn't
absolutely
sound right.
blew my mind.
Yeah. So is that no judicial on the day? Is there going to be an overarching penalty here for the kids that were involved?
Well, you'd like to think that the governing body's going to step in and sanction anyone that's thrown a punch or was involved in a bad way. But from what I've seen, there was no sin bin. The kid come off the field for about 3 minutes, and then the coach put him back on, which I thought was quite poor as well. I thought, given that you're representing the state, if someone's out there throwing a punch, probably should have sat out the rest of the game, in my opinion. And also, given that it's a safe play code in the under 15 still, I'm surprised it wasn't an automatic send-off.
Well, yeah, so I'm hearing this for the first time, and I'm just trying to recount here. I'm going, hang on, I'm running out of fingers to count the shots that have just been let rip here. So hang on. Whoa. So first up, there's no judiciary at this carnival.
Correct.
And it's a sanctioned NRL schools carnival.
Yep.
That's the biggest shock, I think. Like what? Hey, what?
Well,
even in men's competitions, when I've gone away and played for state, there's a judicial system. I remember Tomo in the team that I played in, he spear tackled someone and he had to sit out the second game because he got suspended for a game.
Yeah, there's judicial systems in every tournament.
Yeah.
That seems
that
weird.
is interesting, yeah. But what sort of...
Now, I don't know if that's because whose banner does it fall under?
Yeah.
Like, does it fall under the NRL? Does it fall under NRL schools? Does it fall under the QRL because they're in Townsville? Like, okay, all right, we're not going to answer that one.
Yeah.
But, and then you said, so Goanna started it through the first?
Yep.
All right, so whoever threw the first, tournament over.
Absolutely.
In my eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Like, well, again, you bring it up. It's the safe play code. You can get penalised and sin binned for pushing a player under the safe play code. So if you're full on striking, sorry, that's tournament over.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then the kid who's probably retaliated because he got hit. It's not a good thing to say, but I do have a little bit of leniency there, just because you're sticking up for your self-defense, really.
Yeah, well, that's...
But if he's thrown one, the rest of the game, no more.
Yeah.
And then, was it just a one-on-one? Just a quick little one-on-one, or what was the go?
And then there was players running a distance to...
Anyone who's run a distance, if they've thrown one, tournament.
Yeah, you'd kind of have to, wouldn't you? Because
you have to, I'm sorry, but...
Even at a professional level, we've seen incidences where players have come in...
Third man in, and
I hate to bring this up because it's me, but I'm fairly certain Cam Murray for South got done for a week after coming in from about 30 metres away. Actually, he might have come in off the bench.
He came in off the bench, which is a whole different thing, and that to me should have been serious.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
you don't get involved off the bench.
No.
But then you said that the coach put the kid back on.
Yeah, so he's gone back on, after a few minutes on the sideline, I imagine to clear his head or to...
Well, so hang on. Here's the thing. There's two issues with that. One, you're rewarding bad behaviour.
Yeah.
Two, if the kid's copped a punch to the head, he's under HIA. And at safe play code, that's the end of your game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's really poor. That's shocked me a bit because, I thought
it sounds maybe there could have been maybe a reffing issue, maybe.
Well, if the ref didn't send anyone off,
well, he's kind of
that's the other thing. The
referee
referee
needs to take control.
what
they can. Kids are going to do what they can to keep playing. Coaches will keep their kids on the field. The referee is the be all and end all of the rule set. He says what's going to happen next. So,
and I know there's going to be people out there that are listening that'll say, "Oh, good on them. They went in there and stuck up for their mates."
Not in today's game.
The game's moved on. That doesn't happen anymore. Like I said, you just got to cop it on the chin, laugh, and take the penalty.
I guess this comes back down to the mentorship of players, about trying to be above it when those issues come along.
Yeah.
Keep your head in the game.
Education of the rules of the game.
Yeah, correct.
As Beer Triks mentioned at the start. Take the hit, take a step back and start laughing at them, because you know what? If you don't retaliate, you've got the penalty. They'll lose. They should lose a player for the rest of the game, and you've got the advantage for however's long left in the game.
Yeah.
So,
But again, young fellas too.
oh yeah, it's always going to
Emotions,
happen.
vibes.
Always going to happen. But at the same time,
It's not even leniency. It's an understanding of tempers flaring in the moment. It is footy.
it is young teenage boys too.
Yeah, and I mean, look, other times we've spoken about it, not even on the podcast, about this idea of beasts on the field and gentlemen off it. I mean, we'll probably go into that a little bit more in another episode. But these kids as well. I mean, you're fighting with your mates on the field. I can understand tempers flaring, but that's where the education and the rules comes in. The footy IQ. That's what my coach would call it. Footy IQ. Understanding what has happened and how the rule set can best benefit you and your team.
But as Beer Triks mentioned earlier too, hopefully, because this is a representative game,
Yes.
hopefully our local governing body has the gumption to pass down some form of consequence for these actions once these kids get home. Now, what that looks like, I don't know. Potentially, if they've run in a distance and thrown a punch, I'm okay if it's a 1 week suspension from the local competition.
Yeah.
You need to set some form of standard and ground rule. You're representing the state. That's not a good look on anybody, and realistically, it's the worst look possible on our governing body and our game locally.
If nothing happens, if nothing comes
Of this. Well, the incident to start with is a bad look
Yeah.
for all involved.
Yeah.
How it's dealt with after,
We need to stamp it out.
yeah.
Needs to be stamped out.
It's all, I mean, mate, we all joke about bringing back the biff, but
But back to
as kids,
back to the competition.
Yeah.
The two teams do have another game on Friday. I know the boys play NT. I'm not sure who the girls are playing, but keep an eye out for when that game is on. I'm sure the governing body will continue their good work and promote them games.
yeah, that's how I'm getting everything, because I'm not going through a paywall.
Well, yeah. Don't even go there. That's not on our governing body. Whoever struck that deal with community TV is. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Little guy again.
Yeah.
Not only that, you're cutting out the parents and family who want to watch these kids play.
Well, it's causing them to spend even more money that they already spend a fortune on your kids, putting them through sport, to then ask for more payment to just watch them follow their dreams. I think it's a bit on the nose to ask for that kind of thing. But
Let's get back to some local footy.
yes, let's move on. So we're going to do our junior preview now. I'm going to kick off with the under-13s boys. So this weekend, the Titans will take on Joondalup at Thomas Oval. Fremantle will take on Rockingham at Treeby Community and Sports Centre. Willagee will take on Ellenbrook at Webber Reserve, and Kalamunda has the bye.
In the 14s, boys, we've got South Perth taking on North Beach at George Burnett Park. Kalamunda taking on Ellenbrook at Hartfield Park. Kwinana taking on Joondalup at Thomas Oval. Fremantle taking on Alkimos at Treeby Community and Sports Centre. And Serpentine taking on Rockingham at Webber Reserve.
You've looked after me again, boys. Give me the short one. So the 14s girls, we have Kwinana taking on Joondalup at Thomas Oval, Willagee v Ellenbrook at Webber Reserve, and Fremantle have the bye.
And the 15s boys, Ellenbrook versus Joondalup at Hartfield Park. Fremantle versus Alkimos at Treeby Community and Sports Centre. Willagee versus Rockingham at Webber Reserve, and Kalamunda have the bye.
And under 17s boys, we have Kwinana versus Ellenbrook at Thomas Oval, Alkimos versus Rockingham at Treeby Community and Sports Centre, and Fremantle versus Joondalup also at Treeby Community and Sports Centre. As usual, everybody get down, pump up your juniors, buy something from the canteen. Pluto Pups, we haven't thought of any new names for the battered sausage on a stick.
Well, it looks like there's a lot of action at Treeby this weekend.
Yes.
So that might be the local ground to get down to.
Yeah, that's it.
Get down there and watch your junior footy, and let us know if you watch any of the 14s or 15s game. Let us know if the state boys end up playing, given the scheduling that they're playing on Friday and have to fly out Friday night. It could be a tough ask on the body to back up and play on Sunday.
Well, I hope none of these kids are being forced to back up for their club, because we're not the NRL.
Yeah, that's right.
But at the same time, if the kid's fit, ready, raring to go, let him rip.
It's the funny thing about that though is next week is our school holidays, so those boys are coming off. Boys and girls are coming off the plane, play on the Sunday, and then it's probably Xbox or Monday anyway.
So, but yeah, boys, if you are listening, be smart. If you're not right, don't push yourself because there's more important games ahead. The finals are not too far away, so it's not worth risking yourself now to affect your season later.
Correct. Okay, and going on to round 11 for seniors. It'll be round 11 for the Premiership, I think, and round 9 for third grade. Women's League tag, we have Joondalup versus Fremantle.
Don't know where you were going there, bro.
Yeah,
Falling asleep on us. Anyway, what were you saying?
Before I was rudely interrupted. Women's League tag this week, we have Joondalup versus Fremantle at Admiral Park, Kwinana versus Willagee at Franklin Offshore Stadium, Mandurah versus Ellenbrook at Franklin Offshore Stadium, and North Beach will take on Alkimos at Blue Force Park, with South Perth having the bye.
Boys, we've got a full round of third grade this week with no byes.
Is that rare?
I repeat, there is not 4 teams having a bye this week. How good. All right, we'll kick it off with Ellenbrook versus Fremantle at Admiral Park, Kwinana versus Mandurah at Franklin Offshore Stadium, Rockingham versus Willagee also at Franklin Offshore Stadium, and we've got Kalamunda versus South Perth at Blue Force Park, and North Beach versus Alkimos also at Blue Force Park.
Rightio, rolling on to the Val Murphy. We have Joondalup v Fremantle up at Admiral Park, Rockingham v Ellenbrook at Franklin Offshore Stadium with the double header alongside Kwinana and Willagee. And then up at Blue Force Park, another Val Murphy double header. Kalamunda v... I've just lost that on my page. South Perth. And North Beach v Alkimos, all at Blue Force Park.
Yeah, and then we move on to the Women's Premiership. We got Willagee versus Fremantle at Weber Reserve and Joondalup versus Kalamunda. It's down to be at Weber Reserve, but given that games can't be played after 9 o'clock due to residential area, that may be moved, but we'll see. And we've got Ellenbrook having the bye.
Because this lighting issue, is this the equivalent of people moving into an area where there's live music and then complaining about the live music?
Probably.
Yeah, that's sort of residential area. It's a football ground, come on.
But how do you see the women's games going, Sweeney?
Yeah, the Willagee Fremantle game is going to be... It's actually not the live stream game. Joondalup versus Kalamunda is a live stream game.
What?
Yeah. Didn't we just get through saying that these games are starting to become the ones we want to watch on the live stream?
Well, have we got confirmation on that, or is that just due to the scheduled kick-off times?
That will probably be due to the scheduled kick-off times. I think the 8 p.m. game is usually the live stream game. So then again, it depends on where they're going to be playing. I think Willagee have done quite well when they played at Hartfield Park as well. So home or at Hartfield, they perform quite well. But I definitely want to see the outcome of this Willagee versus Fremantle game.
Yeah, it should be a cracking game. Hopefully Willagee get their players back. Hopefully their halfback is not a serious injury and she's back on the field this week because that'll strengthen the squad. And yeah, should be a cracking game of footy between those two. And also Joondalup versus Bulldogs. Joondalup not going as well as they have in previous seasons. So I think you got to take a bit of confidence out of that as in Kalamunda and sort of back yourselves. See this as an opportunity to maybe get your first win.
All right, boys. Here's one for you from the outsider. What have we got? A bear versus a rooster. I reckon the bear wins. And a giant versus a bulldog. Well, that could go either way, but let's go for the bulldog to bite the ankles of the giant.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll have a...
Well, I've got no idea about who's playing or what's going on, so I'll do it that way.
We'll see.
Heel, if you will.
Yeah. We'll see if we can get a guest tipping for this week from the bear.
It won't be too crash on, I don't think.
No, that's it. Just go through my league app. I'm sure all the correct results are on there. Moving on to the men's premiership this weekend, we have Joondalup versus Fremantle at Admiral Park. We have Rockingham versus Willagee at Franklin Offshore Stadium, and North Beach versus South Perth, Blue Force Park.
I did some research on this one, boys. I did some research.
Okay, Bear.
Is North Beach and South Perth 1v2?
Is North Beach?
Yes.
Right now, I think it is, yes.
Yeah, there you go. That's the game of the round. There you go. That one there.
I actually don't have the info on which one of these will be live streamed. However, that will probably be...
They're equal first with only points differential separate.
Oh, well, there you go. That's the cracker. That's got to be the live stream. That's got to be match of the round.
You'd really want that to be the live stream.
Well, looking at the game times, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed.
No, you got Joondalup Freo at 3:30, which is usually
usually
the live stream game. But then you got Beach, South Perth 4:30, and Rockingham, Willagee at 5:30. So
yeah, I'd say that Joondalup game would probably be that.
Again, I don't know, boys. I did a little bit of research. I saw those two teams at the top, and I thought, I can say that.
I'm enjoying the live stream that we're getting for the opportunity when I do get to watch them. The other thing I enjoy about it too is we're getting to see the premiership games from the NT, women's and men's premiership games from up there. So that's been really good.
Yeah, it's a joint thing, isn't it?
It is,
one of ours, one of theirs.
Yeah.
yeah.
And as always...
It's not behind the paywall.
That's not behind a paywall, no. That's done locally, I believe.
But yeah, how do we see
With
it
each of
going?
them, yeah.
I think Fremantle...
What a win.
They've struck back a bit of fall.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think they'll take a lot of confidence out of South Perth game. Will they continue on? Probably. Willagee, they're starting to hit some form too. Big upset against North Beach. They'll probably get the win up there. And then North Beach versus South Perth. Both teams after a loss last week.
Yeah.
They've been disappointing, I suppose. To what their standards were at the start of the year.
Of the season, yeah.
But that North Beach game last week, no Bailey Miller. Bit of a favourite of the podcast.
Yeah.
I've heard of him because you
Yeah.
boys don't shut up
Don't shut
about him.
See if he's back this week. I think if he's back this week, that could make a huge difference. Also,
I think he
depends on who the halves are for. Depends who the halves are for South Perth as well.
That's right, yeah. So they were missing
There's a few question marks around it. Prowler
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, a
And
few
then
question marks around
Sonny.
it.
Yeah. So I think Fremantle will probably get up. I mean, Joondalup did get up pretty good over Rockingham last week, but I still think Fremantle are going to take a lot of confidence out of what they did to South Perth last week.
I think they're hitting their straps. Dwayne Butler's a few games back now.
Yeah, just really starting to get into his rhythm. Yeah.
So.
Willagee the same. They you can never count them out if they look like they're behind, and they've done that to Fremantle a few rounds ago, where they looked like they were behind, and they just rallied. They rallied all the way, and that was at Fremantle's home. That was at Treaty. So I can just see Willagee maybe just, taking control from the start against Rockingham, who are still doing quite well, given that they've blooded some young fellas continuously over the last few rounds. They've started to build on that, and you can see that in the last game as well.
Yeah.
And geez, I want this to be the live stream game so much. This North Beach versus South Perth game, it's going to be for the marbles at the top, isn't it? So yeah, I'm excited.
I think it's got to be a live stream game, doesn't it? That's the mouth-watering.
Well, that is surely the best product we can put up this weekend.
Yeah, that has to be that's what I want to see. You boys have got to want to see that too. Given
Mate,
what's been going on all year.
I'll chip in and watch that one even.
Yeah.
But boys, quickly, just before we move on, meant to be an absolutely horrendous weekend with the weather.
Yes.
Who's the better wet weather team?
Lions don't like the water.
I was going to say Rockingham the Sharks. So if it rains at Franklin offshore, the Sharks swim away with it. But Bears are pretty handy in the water.
It's Rockingham.
It's a great leveler, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So,
but it's I don't know. Franklin offshore. It's either scalding hot or it's messing down with rain. It's the Sharks.
Well, this weekend I'll guarantee you it'll be absolutely pouring.
I reckon it'll work in the Sharks' favour there.
Whoever
I don't know
controls
if
the
they
footy.
will. Yeah, but that's
Simple footy
simple
wins
footy.
this weekend
It's
if
just
the
a lot
weather
of
holds
catch
up.
and pass.
you get some terrible weather down at Rockingham.
Yeah.
If it's a windy day and it rains heavy, it comes in sideways. And yeah, I've heard.
You can't even get
I've
under
heard
there.
stories of good blokes having to have hot showers at half time just because they were coming off the field shivering.
Yuck.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
It's
Actually,
not a good place.
Okay, guys, we are done. Normally we'll have our local legend for this week, but we've had no one reach out for us. However, we would like to pass the condolences on from everybody here at the podcast to Willagee Bears. Everyone that's listening will know what that's about. So yes, condolences from Empire Rugby League. With that...
Yeah, another week in the book, boys.
And another excellent week of football coming up. Also, good luck to our schoolboys and girls over there on the last couple of games as well.
Thanks for having me, boys. Hope I wasn't
Yeah,
too much
that
of a
was
hindrance.
brilliant.
Hope it wasn't all dribble.
Let's encourage some feedback on our posts and stuff. Let's get some engagement going because
Listen,
I'd love for you to tell me that I was wrong about these things and we can have a conversation.
the longer we go without the feedback, the more we're going to believe our own hype. Well, there's another word for what we do here, but I won't say that on air.
Ribble.
Okay, guys. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. Until the next time, remember, train hard, be kind, and love rugby league.